Hey Jay, how's it going today?
Good. How are you?
I am so good. Hey, today, are you ready to talk about social media?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
I know we're going to bring on a special guest here in a little bit, but when we discuss social media and kind of giving it the human element, I've got a terrific story about that. You want to hear it this morning?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
okay. So back when I was doing marketing for an FI, a credit union, we had an auto loan promotion, which who doesn't, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So instead of showing a bright, shiny, beautiful car, we thought it would be a great idea to pick the ugliest car, rescue it from a salvage lot, name it, and promenade her around town at all kind of fun events, right? And the social media was kind of rolling with that until the Dodge stealth lovers of the world, which there's this group of people that are Dodge stealth enthusiasts, right? Well, we had called an ugly car contest, named our Dodge stealth Stella. That's hard to say really fast.
Oh,
And we
nice.
put her out on social media. On the 4th of July, the next day after I woke up because we had put a post out, and all of the Dodge Stealth enthusiasts there got it, joined together to talk about how awesome and wonderful Stella was and how that we're promoting her. And so I spent the whole entire holiday hand responding different messages and making them personalized to everybody that commented on Stella.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
It
That is
was,
legit awesome.
yeah, it was really great. And when we put this campaign out, I had no idea that I would reach a specific group and how much they loved it. So, hey, we had to keep humanizing the social media, right? Because when the campaign was finished, guess what we couldn't do?
What?
We just couldn't take Stella back to the salvage yard, right? Like, we couldn't.
That's awesome.
So we had to come up with this awesome story about how Stella met her match and drove off into the sunset. So it was pretty cool.
That's very awesome. Here, I thought it was going to be like a horror story where
Yeah.
Ford people were going to come in and be like, "Oh yeah, that go figure" or something, or those people are going to be upset. So I'm glad that turned out different than the way that I understand social media these days.
Very true, true. Like we did get the positive effects of that, and there are some
Yeah.
negative ones on there.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, do you want to continue this conversation and bring our own Cooper Chesky? Oh my God, Cooper.
Close enough.
That should be on the back of a hockey jersey. I know somebody has that name on the back of a hockey jersey. Can you correct me?
Cooper
Yes,
Fieschi.
so close.
Ooh,
We're close. It's Cooper Fiakowski. It's Polish, very weird. I've dealt with it my whole life, but you gotta love it. It's really original, so
so how
it
long did
definitely
it take you
stands out.
yeah, how long did it take you to learn how to spell it? How old were you?
Like seventh grade, maybe.
Just kidding.
No, I don't know. Probably preschool, kindergarten.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I'm sorry. You get your last name butchered all the time.
Yeah.
So
That's all right. I'm used to it, so
par
no
for the
harm, no
course.
foul.
I
Yep.
I promise I'll wake up every day repeating it until I can get it right.
For
Hmm.
sure.
Okay.
Yep, that totally works. And I loved your story, by the way, Nikki. That was awesome. That's a great example of human humanifying your brand on social media and
Yeah.
doing something fun and unique. So I was glad that turned out successful for your FI at the time.
Thanks. And this was my pre-Cooper days, right? So, I mean,
Right.
so hey, Coop, give us some ideas on like, that was one story about Stella, but how can people and our marketing friends at FIs add a little bit of the human touch to their social media posts? Examples would be like that I've seen a lot of, or that I was even guilty of doing, is just throwing up a picture of a new house and say, hey, look in the market, talk to me.
Right. No, that's a very common occurrence for any business, doesn't matter what landscape you're in. But when you look at FI specifically, you see a lot of the same old handshakes, handing over keys, kind of that
Yeah.
sea of sameness of stock imagery. and seeing all the different things. And when you do a video here and there that kind of performs better, you kind of look into that and you're like, why was that better than our stock image that got 2 likes over here on Facebook and Instagram? Well, that's an example of like making your brand more human. Let's say this video was you guys at a local fundraiser, your employees, maybe your members were there or your customers were there, getting videos of that, and that performed better for you all. That's an example of making your brand more human, showing off your account essentially as if it was a person running it, like an influencer, instead of just a business trying to push their objectives down your throat. You want it to be more of a social space. It's called social media for a reason. You want people to engage and be social on there. So the more engaging, entertaining, educational the content is, the better we've seen it perform, especially in the FI space as well.
Yeah, I think just jumping in here, the cool thing that you said was treat it like an influencer, because I have always struggled, like, why should I care enough? And this is the question, is why should I care enough to follow your bank, your credit union on social media? You know, I'm not there on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not there on any of those social platforms to get sold to. So why would I, work with, why would I follow a content creator that only shoots promotions into my face,
Right. No, that's a great point, because it's already a big ask to ask your current members and current customers to follow your social channels. You have to be very unique, original, entertaining to potentially even have a possibility of a non-member customer following your accounts and engaging. So if you can find a way to be niche enough in that market and allow your content to be entertaining and have that independent value with it, then you can maybe find a way to get a new customer or at least a new follower to your brand. You're like, this bank is actually teaching me some things I didn't know about. This credit union, they look so fun. I would love to be a member, even though I don't follow them. If you play your cards right with content, you can show up on people's For You pages. You can show up on their Explore pages, even when they're not searching for you. And that's when you have the best potential chance to obtain people that aren't already your customers or credit union members following you.
But wait, Cooper, banks are compliance heavy. And how am I going to get, oh, this was a problem I had. Like, obviously, you're a marketing person, you want to get the influence in there, like you said. But how can I get my internal team to have fun or buy in or be in front of the camera, and jumping on some trends
Right.
while still keeping compliance in mind? Do you have any thoughts
Right.
there?
So actually one of our clients, Levo Credit
Yeah,
Union, Nikki, you used to work
I
there,
did.
right?
Yeah.
You guys do a great job, and this kind of opened my eyes of having like internal competitions for engaging with, being in photos, making short videos, things like that, to where you do a giveaway with your internal employees that were willing to be on your social channels and see how much they interact and then pick a winner each month. And that was just a great example of what you can do to get internal buy-in. Of course, if your employees are willing to be on the social media channels as well. So that was just one example of that, getting internal buy-in. And then another big thing is when you get that internal buy-in and you start to see that more fun content coming out there that's more human,
Hmm.
showing off events you're at, showing off employee spotlights, different things like that, then you can actually look at the results of that compared to some of the other stuff. And you can show that to your board members and say, hey, look at this kind of content. We're not pushing rates down your throat, but we're increasing engagement. People are commenting, and we're overall increasing followers and that brand awareness.
I think that that's key, showing your brand awareness and in telling your story too, right? Because you're going to
Right.
seem authentic more to your followers.
Yep. That's a definitely a very key point, and there's so many different ways you can do that. Like I mentioned, showing off the events, charity efforts. You can look at employees. You can look at a trending Instagram reel and just like, hey, we're going to recreate that with 2 of our tellers here.
Yeah.
And we found some success doing that for different clients as well. As just let's just have fun with it and be entertaining, because If I'm scrolling through Instagram or LinkedIn, doesn't really matter the medium in this case. If the content has that value there, that's what's most important, and that's what's going to impress the followers, the non-followers, and your internal teams.
I think so.
Yeah. Just even talking about that, it's like, you want to have, in every organization wants to have a very clear goal of what they're doing. And I think it's very common for FI leadership to think that every platform is a conversion platform. Every platform should be driving loan growth, should be driving direct deposit growth. So I think it's very important, kind of, as you're sort of alluding to, that, the goal of organic social media content is engagement. It is brand awareness. And I think if you can, like, as a FI organization, if you can just level set with your leadership that, like, we see success as growth in followers, growth in shares, growth in comments, not necessarily I can do a one-to-one attribution model of people who went to our Facebook from a post to the website to an application to getting that loan serviced.
Right. No, that reminds me of the 70-20-10 rule. 70% of the content on social media, doesn't really matter the platform in this case, should be original, entertaining, educational content from your account. So even if that is a fun graphic that's more branding, or if it's a fun Instagram reel you're doing, or it's even a TikTok that's cutting edge and trending, that should be entertaining, it should be educational, it should be something in there that's original content from your own brand, making that brand more human. 20% of the time, you should be sharing other accounts' content. You should be sharing user-generated content. If someone tags you, a picture at your branch or closing on a car, sharing that content 20% of the time is very beneficial there. And then only that 10% of the time, so this is 1 out of every 10 posts should actually sell. So you want to gain that trust.
10.
That's right.
That is
so
against what we are seeing, right?
Right. So when you look at someone's Instagram feed, just let's take these 9 tiles, for example, probably 3 or 4 or 5 of them are going to have big numbers on them with rates.
Yep.
But if 9 of those were an entertaining series with an outstanding teller or bank manager that is giving you tips on where to invest your money or what kind of savings accounts to partake in, that could very quickly shift the tide of hey, these guys are actually providing me with something that's beneficial other than just saying, here's our rates this month, here's a new car on the graphic, different customizable content like that. So it's 1 out of 10, which is hard to comprehend or tell everyone, as far as Jay was saying, for that attribution, but it'll really help grow your community over time and kind of solidify your brand online.
I agree. I know using the people, your employees, is so key. And for me, back when I used to do social media, that was my biggest engagement always. And so, like you said, getting them in front of the camera is huge. They're the trustworthy faces everybody comes and turns to for financial advice. So it makes logical sense to have them on your social media platform. But hey,
Yep.
oh, go ahead.
Nope, I'm going to say
You're
that
gonna
totally
agree
makes
with me?
sense.
I love it.
I can agree.
I love when people agree with me. But Cooper, you've talked about a lot of different platforms this morning. And, there is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. How do you know where to start, what to do, which ones to be on even? How do we help our FI friends figure that out?
Right. It's kind of the age-old question, because a lot of times when a bank or a credit union gets on these platforms, I think they should be everywhere always.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. There's different platforms that could be more beneficial for the different avenues that your company is looking to excel in. So some of the big 3, I would say, for FIs would be Facebook, Instagram, because those are so connected. You can post to both of them fairly easily because they're both owned by Meta. So those kind of go hand in hand. And the third big one would be LinkedIn for your FI. So this is where you find different professionals, you find people looking to network, and it's a good place for potentially finding new customers. But if you're looking to, let's say, hire new people at your bank or credit union as well, it's a great space to post those job offerings, different things like that. There are some new cutting edge things like TikTok, not so cutting edge, but newer things like TikTok where it hasn't clearly been defined in the FI space. There's some influencers and some different brands that have tried to get on there, but um, there's definitely a lot of opportunities if you are a content heavy team as an FI or as an FI, then that could be a potential place for you. And another big one you mentioned was YouTube, who um, I believe it's still the or became the number one or two largest search engine in the world, and the amount of minutes viewed on YouTube is just outrageous. So if you can find entertaining content and have some sort of a series, kind of like this video podcast you're watching now, or something like that, that can catch fire on YouTube, that would be another great space to explore for your FI.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would even say, one of the questions is sort of a loaded one, right? Is like, which channels should I get into? Obviously, you want to get into the ones that have the most popularity, but the real thing is not should I expand into, TikTok. What it should really be doing is, am I doing the platforms I'm in right? Am I doing them the right way? Are they actually seeing the growth? Because just expanding into another channel where you kind of just dawdle around, right, and you're just kind of posting the same stuff, getting very low engagement holistically. Being in that extra channel basically doesn't bring any value. You're just kind of stretching yourself more thin than you really need to be. So
Yeah, not to say that cross promotion across different channels because people use different things is the worst thing, but like you said, there are best practices for each of those channels. For example, Instagram, you want to really utilize a Reels heavy strategy, so that vertical video, short, entertaining snippets have been performing best over the last year. So if you aren't thinking about some of that, or just highly, highly attractive visuals as well on Instagram, for example, you may not use the platform to its full potential. Facebook, it's all about communities and provoking engagement more than even other social channels. So if you get people commenting, there's Facebook groups. If you get people liking your page, that's a whole different ballgame than Instagram, even though I just said that they are so interchangeable. LinkedIn, like I said, is very professional. TikTok's all about being niche, cutting edge, and then sticking to it. Same with YouTube. So there's just different best practices no matter what. Not to say that cross posting is the worst thing, but it can dumb things down for sure.
Sure.
Great point.
One thought is, how would you address the elephant in the room? Organic social versus paid social.
Right. So I think the easiest way to look at this would be, let's just take Facebook, for example. So it's just easy. You can apply it to the different channels as well. But some of the best practices say to post, if you're a business, 3 to 5 times a week, which I know can sound like a lot, especially if you're used to posting once every 2 weeks, or maybe you post 2 times a day. Maybe you're on that opposite spectrum. Organic social has its best practices, and showing and utilizing that 70-20-10 rule, no matter what the content, can be a very good thing on organic posting. But when it comes to actually putting some money behind things, so asking for that budget from the board to get stuff to boost your channel, to run a likes campaign on Facebook, to just run simple ads on Facebook, that's where it can get difficult. So if we want to talk about just boosting a post, getting it out there to more people than your current followers, it's imperative that you select posts that aren't always the sales ones there too. So if you have an organic post, let's say you posted an employee spotlight of someone who's been there for 10 years and it's already doing very well organically, that's a great time to put some money behind a post that's already doing well and push it out to a larger audience to potentially capture some of their interest, capture them as a follower, or even if you just get engagement on that post, you're more likely to show up in their feed over and over again until they do hit that follow button. So there's different strategies with organic and paid, but not to say that they can't work together. And paid efforts don't always just have to be, let's run an ad now that has our rates here. Those have their time and place when you're running a campaign, things like that. But um, explaining that you can utilize some of that money for things like boosting is a whole different ballgame, and it's hard to explain to the board and higher ups, but um, there is a time and a place for it, and it does help grow that brand online, especially since so many people are online on these social channels anyway.
Good point. I know just to try and get engagement from board of directors that I've worked with in the past, I kind of made it a competition
Oh,
every month. When we would have the board report, part of the marketing update would simply be to show our social media engagement and likes, and then show competitors. And it got everybody really hungry to beat some of the big players, just to beat the next level, and it became a game too. So that's like a little
Yep.
tidbit to get your board competitive in nature with your social media game.
Yeah, that's a great point. And Jay and I deal with this all the time is
mhm.
reporting.
Hmm.
So reporting, whether it's paid or organic social media content, looking at what's doing best. Yes, we can predict that the showing off the employees will probably perform better than the shaking hands, even though that's 10% of the time. Each one has its time and place, and you have to take it with a grain of salt when you look at reporting, even if it's a paid effort too. So there's different ways to look at it, but yes, definitely reporting on what's working well, what can we keep up, what can we try that's different, and then doing that competitive analysis to you can take ideas and make them your own. You can look at trending reels or trending YouTube shorts and try to recreate those or pave your own way with those. So there's so many things you can try with the world of content marketing, but a big portion of that is your social media presence.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of social media is you can just jump in there and you can just post as much as you want to and just experiment. It's just
Hmm.
like
Right,
see what sticks, right? You gotta put things out there to see how people react to it. And I think to your point, Nikki, you just don't really know where things are going to head once they get rolling. So you might run into some interesting audience engagement that you never expected, and don't shy away from that. Right, lean
right.
into it. Make sure you're engaging those audiences. Make sure you
Yep.
capitalize on those moments because it doesn't always happen. So
Yeah,
That's
and things. It's a love hate thing, but it's makes this job interesting. Is what it performed today might not perform in 2 weeks, even though
yeah,
you're like, well, this stuck then. Why didn't it stick now? The platforms are forever changing, so it's about being nimble, staying current, seeing what sticks in the moment, leaning into it, like Jay was saying, but
mhm,
then making pivots when you need to.
exactly. And I just have one final thought because Jay brought up a good point of like, w- and further to humanize your responses in your social media game. When you do get comments on whatever platform it is, Coop, you've got some great tips on, when to apply, how, or to reply, how quickly to reply, not,
Right,
making sure the message is custom. Can you walk us through that real quick?
right. Yeah, for sure. So when someone comments on your post and says congratulations or something positive like that, it's as simple as liking that comment. And then if you'd like to responding with an emoji thumbs up or saying thank you so much for commenting, different just positive sentiments. And you want to be quick about those response times because it does help out the algorithms seeing that there's a lot of engagement on your post. It's more likely to show that to people within the platform. Now, let's say you make a post that someone finds offensive for some reason. Susie found this post offensive and no one can understand why, and she's having a bad day and she wanted to rant somewhere. Um, I would not recommend deleting or hiding the post because then they can sometimes come back and why'd you delete my post? They can comment
yeah,
again. So you can say things like sorry that you're having this experience, sorry that this was not up to your expectations. And if they continue to respond to you within those and it's a negative sentiment, get them off the comments and direct message them.
Yes.
So that's when the handcrafted, like, hey, is there anything we can do to help? things like that, and get them off your comments so they're not seeing a bunch of negative stuff as the top like comments on your posts. So those are just some quick tips for commenting and engaging. But yes, the more fast you are with it, and showing off those positive comments is always beneficial, no matter what the platform.
Yeah, I wanted to address that because everybody has a little bit of that negativity sometimes, no matter what. So responding to them, not deleting, just like you said, and then taking the conversation to a direct message is always the best option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too, and I also would show my board. My goal was to respond to messages under 7 minutes. So, hey,
Right.
yeah, it's pretty cool to show them how responsive you are. As a marketing person, they know that you're looking
Right.
24/7, which is good too. So,
Yeah. And I know we're closing out, but that brings up a good point of social media is one of the fastest ways and the only ways sometimes to connect a brand to a consumer instantaneously. Direct mail doesn't necessarily get the feedback that one-on-one conversation or a billboard. They have their place in different campaigns, but social media allows you to connect via your brand to the consumers instantaneously, answer any questions, receive any positive sentiment, and thank your consumers of your content instantly. So it's a powerful tool. FI should be utilizing it, picking the right platform for them. You don't have to be on all of them, and then kind of figuring out what does a paid versus organic structure look like for your FI.
Yeah, you do it right, you make an impression. You do it wrong, people keep scrolling.
Yep.
It's the world of social.
absolutely. So should we try it one more time? I've been kind of practicing while you've talked a little bit.
Go for it.
Cooper Chwialkowski.
Close.
Ah!
Jay, you want to give it one more try?
No, I don't. I'm just going to hoop for Coop. That's what I'm going to do.
That's right. Hoop for Coop.
Oh, hoop for Coop. We love it.
Awesome.
We love it.
Right.
Cooper Chwialkowski.
Hey, Cooper.
Cooper Chwialkowski,
Yeah.
digital media coordinator, signing off.
All right.
If anybody can say it, I just give ahead.
Yeah.
Record
social
yourself
media
and put it on the comment.
from Cooper.
Yes.
Yeah, use your social media.
Yes.
Let us hear it.
For sure.
All right,
Thanks.
guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.